There you go. I knew it was there somewhere.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So I am Shanmugavel Shankaran. Thanks, Columbia, Dr. Leon, for getting us here. Thanks, Michael. So we are one of the Indian companies here, and I think I'm very proud to stand here in front of this audience. 8 out of the 10 people past couple of days are speaking about India stack and demonetization. A lot of fintech revolution, what the country is trying to do despite a lot of these infrastructural challenges. So we are a regulatory technology company in business for past 4.5 years. We are trying to have a risk orchestration platform to automate the governance, risk, and compliance platforms for emerging markets. So when we started as a security process company, thinking that, okay, we are competing with Archer's, RSA Archer metrics team, trying to build an emerging market version. But of late, we figured out, okay, who are the verticals very keen to automate the regulatory process. Initially, though, we had some few large pharma clients. Eventually, we figured out banks are the ones who are very serious about the regulatory aspects, and they are getting fined all the time. So we focused on financial industry. Eventually, we became fintech. Then when we started working with the regulators, partnering with the regulators, we could partner with the RBI in India to see how they can help a lot of these community banks, a lot of these small-scale financial institutions to streamline their regulatory compliance aspect. So when we partnered, it's been more than 3 years before there was no demonetization, but of late, now I'm getting VC call every week because there is a demonetization, or even the community banks are aware of this anti-money laundering, and the whole of this country is known all across the globe for the different initiatives, right? So there is a huge new market which has created overnight because of a few of the great initiatives the country has taken. So we automate the governance, risk, and compliance process in our risk orchestration platform for small and medium business through our world's first pure play self-subscription GRC platform, where somebody can come pay just $30 per user per month and can set up their internal audit process or risk process or any other regulatory compliance process. It's just a process system to put it in place. And we have got few things right, like mobile and analytics. So we kind of have bootstrapped for a good 4.5 years. So last year we thought, what is the deep technology stuff we are doing here? So we thought, okay, GRC is just a straightforward workflow automation. It's a form automation thing. So what is the deep technology? So we were having some few great insights from Stanford, few professors at Stanford, and they asked us to kind of get into this analytics, see how we can help global banks to do analytics, kind of risk analytics, to put it in perspective. So we kind of help them predict analytics, risk, what are the predictive risks they are going to have. So we, touchwood, we could get selected with Barclays as well as SocGen, couple of accelerators out of India, for helping them with our risk analytics platform. So Barclays, we were part of the RISE accelerator. Today morning, there was a person from RISE. So we were really being helped by Barclays, and now they have agreed to buy our product. And it's going to be a large deal where they have agreed to use this as a risk analytics as a service, maybe $500,000 deal, maybe $10,000 per month, but kind of for a long time, 5-year kind of contract is what we are working out with them. So, and with UBS and few other global banks, we are trying to build on the same risk orchestration platform. We are trying to build capabilities like a risk data lake to see how we can handle even unstructured risk using alternate data. So though we have started very nimble, simple, bootstrapping the company, I have sold my house to build the company. So I used to work with Microsoft, IBM for a long time. So, and I was a great believer of bootstrapping. I think when there was few questions about sharing the challenges. So I may not recommend bootstrapping for everybody, but if you are a kind of a very strong-hearted person, try bootstrapping, because that will help you not just save your equity. It's about, it will give you a lot of conviction about the problem what you solve. So I'm always very nimble, frugal, and always towards what is that the customer is looking at. These are the few things what we could learn very well. And I think, yeah, we won a lot of recognition. So this whole idea came when I was working with the e-commerce platform company, trying to buy a GRC software for them for sub $10,000. I couldn't see anything. I thought, okay, that's an interesting thing. No looking back. So kind of, I took a good 150K debt initially mortgaging my house. That's how the crazy entrepreneurs do business in India. So the lack of access for capital is one of the greatest challenge in India. I think it's changing slowly. I think VCs don't have great understanding about the niche security products or enterprise products or banking products. I think off late it's changing. And we won a lot of recognitions from IBM, Microsoft, NASCOM, KPMG, lot of recognitions because solving a very interesting greenfield problem in regulatory technology space. So trying to help organizations streamline the regulatory process is a very interesting thing, and it's being done only by the large players like RSA Metrics team, only for Fortune companies who are selling it for $250,000 or $1 million average ticket size. So when somebody is coming and speaking about, okay, I want to sell, enable the emerging markets, enable the global SMBs, a broker dealer. Why not a broker dealer can afford this product by just paying $500, having 15 users to automate their FINRA compliance process? When somebody is coming and speaking this language, I think we got a lot of recognitions, not for the product, just for this thought process of thinking SaaS, software as a service, in this whole GRC world. And I think we incorporated in 2015 in US. Now we are a US company having subsidiaries in India and Singapore. And we could kind of also get recognition like RSA Innovation Sandbox. Even though RSA is our competition, we kind of won recognition in their Innovation Sandbox. We could partner with RBI. And we got some large $100,000 deals from a large pharma client. And we did a $250,000 round last year, and kind of now scaling up. Now we have put together a $5 million Series A. We are actively raising money. So this year we cracked few large recognitions in Let's Talk Payment and Fintech Breakthrough. I think we were one of the bootstrap companies who have got that. And I think passion and perseverance is just a message for everybody if somebody is looking at what is the startup journey which has taught me. Thank you.
Q&A, yeah. So now we got time for a little Q&A. We've had, I guess, I would say Ludwig and Ryan can come back up here to sit so everyone can see them, and that's probably better. And we can start asking questions. So we got one up here from that. There's space here.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
You're on.
So your thing reminded me of the story of that guy, I forget what country, but he invented a windmill.
Mm-hmm.
Did you remember seeing that story?
I believe so,
Except
yeah.
for a few years ago. I was just wondering, would you envision your product getting cheap enough that everyone could have one in their house, and then you could still get paid, by some on-demand service, but
So the technology can certainly scale down to that, and there are a lot of companies that are looking at microfinance products and things that they can get into an individual's home or their hut or whatever, the establishment. So there are options out there. We are taking a different approach in terms of trying to create more public infrastructure to be utilized, and that business model allows us to get relatively expensive capital equipment into a market that otherwise wouldn't be able to bear it based on that business model by charging just small incremental payments instead of larger, loan refinancing payments or loan payback payments. And so I think there are definitely opportunities out there. There are small, little charging, solar charge pads that you can get in those markets, but they can cost anywhere from $25 to $200, and that's a larger investment than paying out, 20 cents at a time to charge your device. So the short answer is yes. There's definitely a market there, but for us, it's not necessarily a fit based on the business that we're building.
Other questions? Well, I definitely had one for Shayla. Hi.
Hi.
So one of the questions, I should stand in front so you're not looking back and forth. Hi. So one of the questions I had was, you touched on a little bit, we all had limited time, but the idea of convincing a lender that a blockchain-based source of, identity and their proof of their financial worthiness, how does one do that? Has it happened yet?
Do a demo. I just do demos, and they're like, okay, we'll try pilot. Because we have a product, we're not just marketing. And I would say right now, a lot of banks don't have, they've had, because of mergers and acquisitions, they have various systems. I was talking to someone about this earlier, that they have to check to understand what liens a person has on them. So I would say, why don't we focus all of that on identity, and then you're able to deliver user-centered services, right, based on that identity. So, and I think for U.S. banks, it may not make as much sense, but for a lot of the banks that we're working with in developing countries, we're talking about KYC in the pilot stage, but then also for interbank settlement systems, there are discussions about a shared KYC. So.
But generally, with a typical driver's license or these kind of bank statements,
Yeah.
they come from institutions that you know. When you pull
Yeah.
something off of this, where does that validity come from?
So we use we all of the information on our system is verified by a third party. We have an open API and we can ping the the database to find out. Like we can ping LexisNexis and OFAC, but in some of those countries where credit bureaus don't exist, we have to use other verification methods. So sometimes it's going to be a local village chief that gets you into, and that's just level 1 KYC. So there are some countries that have tiered KYC, risk-based KYC, where that's awesome for us because we can come in at the base level and then build a dynamic transactional identity that's more trusted through time, right? Where the more transactions you have with trusted organizations, the more that you are trustworthy. Mm-hmm. That's how it works.
Do the attributes live on the blockchain, or is just the keys and it's pointed elsewhere?
So, no, the attributes do, and it depends on the use case, right? So I would say, so we're just an application layer that kind of builds on existing systems to pull data from those systems and store them in the blocks. We store everything in the blocks because that is encrypted and databases aren't as secure as the blocks.
Okay.
I had one for Ludwig. So the phones that you use, you talked about India being a big place for it. Is it only smartphones, or does this work on feature phones?
Yeah, no, that's exactly one of the critical things.
That's what I kind of thought. When you talk
smartphones
about
are awesome.
Yeah.
You can do all these great things with them, but most people still, from a installed base perspective, are still on feature phones in most of these markets, and so you definitely want to be able to serve them as well. So yeah, it's the full breadth.
Wow. Any others here? So with no other questions, I guess we take a moment and we'll get the other panel set up in about 2 or 3 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. Is that good? Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.